Okay, today I'm gonna talk about component. So, well, before we talk about component, we'll talk about a module. What is module? Module is usually a single JS file. Contains a bunch of relative functions to improve code reuse and a development efficiency, right? Then relatively compared to module, what is component? It's usually a bunch of HTML, CSS, JS file combination to implement partial functions, right? We split, we bend those files together to improve code reuse and development efficiency, right? Yeah, just something like this. Because JS file could be reused, then it is a single module, and a component, a partial function also could be reused. So we do it with, we do it using component, right? So now I'm gonna talk about two ways of declare new component. The first one is functional component. Usually, the functional component is used for simple component, right? So we define a function here. We'll call it a demo, and we return each one functional component, right? And we render this demo to functional component. We need a def, right? So functional component, right? It says warning, functions are not valid as a React child. So we have talked about the JSX syntax before. So when we declare a component, it should be uppercase, first letter uppercase, right? And when we use it in the React render, React.dom render, it must be a serve close tag, right? So now we say it again, functional component, right? And what it happened? So we used this API React.dom .render, but we didn't run this function ourselves, right? We didn't run this function. We didn't call it by like something like demo bracket, right? We didn't call this function. So what happened here? We put console this It says undefined. So this function has actually b.call, right? So what really happened here is, so React parsed component parsed component tag, and functional component has been recognized, and virtual DOM returned finally, then converted to true DOM, then print on the page, right? The reason why this, normally if there is function in JavaScript, this pointer of this function should be window, right? Because it is defined in the window. But in this case, it is undefined. Why? Because barbell used strict mode, right? That's the reason why. And if you just create some, like, let me choose something like this. Okay, the function anonymous function console log this, as you can see here, it's window, right? It is just window. But because barbell is used, it's using strict mode, so it is undefined right here, right? Again, we need another class component. So script class component. So class component, we just define a class demo extends. This is very important. Extends React core React library. There's property called component. There's class called component, right? In this class, we have a render function. In this render function, we return something like this. And this is class component, right? So render demo and 3 class components. Yeah, as you can see here, is this class component, right? So what happened when we pass this demo component into render function, in this render function? So we didn't. So suppose if there's something returned by this class, so there must be a new instance has been created, so that it can return this h1 tag class component, right? So we can do console log this, right? As you can see, demo. So actually, what happened here? Actually, there's new instance has been created. Okay. So what happened? So after we passed it, we use React DOM.render. So React parse component tag class component has been recognized and new instance create it, then call return, render function, virtual DOM return from render is converted into true DOM, then print it. Right? Just what really happened behind the scene is just something like this. So there is another. So as you can see here, it extends React component. Why we need to extend React component? Because as you can see here, context, props, refs, states, right? Reason why we wanted this is because it extends parent class, because new demo try to inherit state, props, refs. As you can see here, props, refs, state, props. Properties from parent class, right? So because these three properties are very important for like new inherit, like new class component. So we need to extend React component, right? So yeah, this is two ways of declaring new components. Okay.